Welcome to this week's episode of Monday Biz Motivation with the Culver City Chamber Ambassadors. I am Candance Simmons, your chair ambassador and owner of All That and More Boutique. My co-host is Rafia Cooper, ambassador and owner of Rafia's Collection. Today, we are so excited to welcome a special guest with us. As you know, the Culver City Chamber is a connector of people, resources, and ideas. And this platform has been created to give our business owners a little Monday biz motivation. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Rafia Cooper, and she will introduce our special guest.
Hi, Candance. How are you?
I'm doing great on a Monday.
On a Monday. We're back again.
Right.
So as Candance said, I'm Rafia Cooper of Rafia Jewelry. And today we have a special guest, Todd Shays from Queen Bee Salon Spa right here in Culver City. He is, yes, him and his wife own this cute little spa and salon that is in our community. And I'm going to ask him how he got started and get going with that. And so Todd, how are you today?
I'm great, Rafia. I'm great. Thank you so much. I'm very happy to be here. Hello, Candance.
Hello.
So thanks for inviting me on.
So tell me how long Queen Bee has been around.
Well, Queen Bee started, my wife Jody became a licensed esthetician in the very early 2000s. And Queen Bee in its current form under the name Queen Bee started here in the converted garage where I'm currently sitting, although it was configured differently.
Wow.
And then moved into the cute little bungalow. The front, we have 3 adjacent connected spaces up on Culver Boulevard. And she moved into the smallest, the front bungalow, which is our reception, in 2007. So we've been there. We expanded to what we call the spa building in 2009. And then when the CPA on Culver Boulevard finally moved out, we took that space and knocked through the wall, and that became what we call the Shay's Lounge, which was a third space. And it's also got a little bit of a different vibe. It's where we do a lot of the men's services. So, yeah, going back to 2007.
It's very cute.
It's very cute. I enjoy walking through the front, like you say, you describe the bungalows, and you don't know, I didn't know the extensions occurred just as you described them, but every transition, I knew I was walking into something different, which was great. It didn't feel like, it was this and then it was that. It was just a different transition that flowed really well.
And the thing that we are just so happy about is the front building and the back 2 buildings are connected by a cute little garden. And so when we first took over what we call the spa building, there was a door from the back of that building into the garden, but there was no way from the front, what we call the front bungalow, to connect to it. But we were able to, that hallway that you walk through to get out into the garden was a closet.
Oh, wow.
And we put the exterior door in, and that garden is the connector between the space. So you have all this cute space with an outside area that we, in real normal times, like to do events back there. It's a great place for clients to hang out. Usually our staff will have lunch there. Right now, that is Queen Bee because we are relegated to outdoor services right now. But yes.
So that's where you're doing all your spa treatments, outside in that garden area.
In the garden.
Correct. We're super fortunate when the governor, what we call the dimmer switch, what I call an on-off switch, took our industry and like so many basically said, you can't be, indoor services are now closed again. And then there was a period of time where we were once again totally closed until they basically worked with our licensing board, the State Board of Barbering and Cosmetology, to say, okay, we're going to change the rules temporarily to allow licensed outdoor services. And we were allowed to move outdoors. I don't remember the exact date, but it was late July. We reopened in early August. The regulations are so changing so fast that we didn't want to just open the day we were allowed to. We had to be ready. But the idea was that outdoor services the state considers to be safer than indoor because obviously ventilation, close proximity. And so they pushed us outside. And we were, again, very fortunate. Culver City worked fast to accommodate the regulations that came down from the state, from the LA County Department of Health, and created a special no-fee permit process for us to get permits. I think most of the permits, businesses are spilling out into the streets or on the sidewalks. In our case, it was already within our private area, but we still got that permit from the city, so we're on the record. And we're able to use that private garden. And there's a section of that garden that we were able to set up fully compliant with the code that actually it creates private space for us, which is important because a big part of our business is waxing, and a lot of those treatments are intimate services.
Yeah,
and
they're very private services.
You're not going to get a Brazilian wax in the back by the dumpster under a tent with 3 sidewalls open. And so we were to make our private garden, and then Jody, my wife, who really is the queen bee, didn't just say, okay, we're going to just put a table outside. She went and hung mirrors, and there's artwork, and it's all kitted out like, private outdoor rooms. And early on when we reopened, we had clients who were so excited to be getting their services outdoors. It kind of just felt free and still private.
Yes.
So, yeah. So that's our space. Yeah.
Well, it's a beautiful space back there. So I know Candance and I actually attended a event there for the chamber one evening.
Yeah, the Women in Business. It was a mixer.
Just 2019, I think that was. It was not that long ago.
Right.
Yeah. So we did attend that and saw it. So I would love to see the transformation of that, because it was already so beautiful, but you probably have to put up some pop-up tents and things like that as well, right?
Well, we've tried to create separate areas. So we've got brow stations. We did add what we call our garden facial. Facials were the last service that we added, because again, to do a facial service, the client has to take their mask off. There's no other way to do it. But you also need a certain amount of privacy and escape in a facial. You don't want to be out fully where the world is watching you. So we did bring a tent in, and again, complying with the rules, configure it in a way where that service can be done. It's interesting because we can get to the idea of what an essential business is. We've long considered our business to truly be essential, and I think most consumers think of their haircuts, their waxing, their brows, their skincare routines as essential. And when we first added our facials back on the service, on the menu, Jody told me that those clients would get off the table and literally be weeping because they felt such release. They felt their skin was refreshed, but they just felt normal. Right. And they also feel a bonding and a connection usually between the service provider and client. And I think people really need that. And I think with the stress of all this and the mental health, that our services are very important. And I think there's a hashtag out there amongst our industry, and it's hashtag we are essential. That estheticians and cosmetologists have, and I completely believe it. So
well, it's a feel good thing. You're doing something for yourself, and only for you, and taking care of you, and there's something that is a mental release from that. And I'm sure. I think that it's absolutely true that if Jody felt that way from her customers, that they were weeping, I can imagine, because so many people for many months have not had any of those services.
Yeah, that's right.
And we speak for all the women. Anything that we do as women that has to do with our hair, our nails, our skin, it is essential. It is essential. So my prayer was always that, of course, we did everything safely and we did our part. But my prayer was that the governor's wife was telling him, listen, these are essential services.
No, she has not been a friend to our industry. She has been absolutely tone deaf and is not well loved in our industry. Where she's posted some, I can't remember now, some months ago, but about women empowerment and so on. And this industry, it's getting smaller by the day, but there are over 52,000 licensed establishments licensed by the State Board of Barbering and Cosmetology, and over 600,000 licensed professionals. We were all out of wig. Yes. And then we're being told women empowerment, rah, rah, rah. And she, her hair looks good because she was getting illegal house calls. So house calls are still not legal, by the way. They're fast tracking some regulation to allow personal services to be done off site. But I'll bet you both know hairstylists and nail technicians who've been doing services at home or come in the back door and we'll put brown paper on the front. This has driven a huge underground economy. we're happy to be able to be open in the real economy, but
Yes.
there is still a huge underground economy out there because people have got to survive, and
Yeah.
and clients want to see their person wherever that may be. So
Right.
yeah.
I think even the barbers, there was a really bad joke that one of the barbers told me. And I said, okay, I'm not repeating that. But yes, my husband does have loyalty to you. But his loyalty to me is essential, you know?
That's right.
So Todd,
That's
when
right.
you shared the experience of your expansion and how
Mhm.
you and Jody have worked together, were you the brainchild behind the engineering of the flow of Queen Bee, or what is your role in Queen Bee?
I wouldn't say I'm the brainchild of anything, or the brain behind anything. I mean, really, Queen Bee, the aesthetic, the whole experience really comes from Jody. It's very personal. You're really getting an essence of her design aesthetic and the way people should be
Mhm.
treated. It's a very happy, genuine group of women who work with us. And we've been told that by clients. They walk in and you don't get that fake plastic LA smile. You can tell these people love each other. They love their clients. They love to be together. Um, but the design aesthetic, the services, all of that really comes from Jody. My role, and we're actually great partners. It took us a little time. I actually moved to LA and started a completely unrelated business with my brother doing action sports event production, X Games type stuff. And
Oh,
then
wow.
moved out, lived at Venice Beach. We did rollerblading and skateboarding and BMX and freestyle motocross and some snowboarding events. And the events, the whole stage the event, package it, shoot the television, and we were distributed on Fox Sports Net. Used to be Prime, and we were on ESPN, ESPN2, and we had some shows on CBS. So it was kind of cool. But I was looking for a change after our daughter was born in 2004, and I was on the road all the time, and
Mm.
I felt like I was missing important moments, and so looking for a transition. Um, and in 2007, we sold the business. I'm knocking on wood because it was just before the bottom fell out in the economy, so we were able to sell before it all imploded. And then I was on for a 4-year employment contract, and as that began to wind down, the question was, what do I do next? I'm kind of done with that business. I'd done it from 1995 to 2010, and Jody had grown her business right through the recession in 2008. Of course, it's easy when you're one person to say you doubled in size when you add your second person, but she did really actually grow quite a bit. And I had always helped out with payroll and certain other things. And as I was beginning to be at a career transition, I started helping her more and realizing that we didn't really have any internal control, which was something I learned about because the company that bought my business was publicly traded advertising holding group. And so there was all kinds of work on even down at our little group of Sarbanes-Oxley compliance and internal controls and separation of who writes the checks versus who signs the checks. So I learned some things about that, and I got involved with helping Jenny. At the time, it was very mom and pop. They were just taking cash out of the cash drawer and going and buying people lunch from Akasha. And our bookkeeper at the time was just backing in sales numbers based on what showed up in the bank account each day and not tying it to the register. I was like, we ought to have some, pull the reports, what sales should be, make sure there isn't any slippage or theft, and that we have some control. So I'm good at that kind of stuff. So I would say I'm the back office guy.
Okay.
Before the pandemic, going into the pandemic, we had about 35 employees, 38 employees, and in 2 states, because we also have a small outpost in Seattle, and then also Santa Monica, where our second location was until last month. They have their own separate labor rules. There's different sick time accruals. They have their own sick time law. And we had employees going between stores, so I had to manage, are they earning Santa Monica sick time or California sick time? And that's the kind of stuff I'm good at. And so
Okay.
Jody, her eyes would go crossed and she'd want to jump off a bridge. But by the same time, we're deciding what skincare line we're going to carry. So
Well, that's why you guys make a good partnership. One
that's
person does
right.
front
That's right.
office and one person does back office, right?
Right.
That's right.
So we do have a question from the audience. What do you
Yes.
think is the best way to tend to self-care during the pandemic?
Well, I will start out by saying I'm not a licensed esthetician, and I am I'm not the person you want out front. But I will say, in our own household, one of the best things we did is to say, what you're putting inside is going to come outside. And Jody and I both talked about it very early in the pandemic. We both turned off all the news alerts on our phones. We unsubscribed from all the news emails because it's all doom and gloom.
Right.
And anytime I go on Facebook or Twitter, God forbid, you think the world is ending, and it's very hard to be productive and happy when that's all you're exposing yourself to, and then you get sucked into conversations on arguing back, and I think that's just very unhealthy. So we really are trying to start with what's inside. There's actually something Rafia posted a few months ago on her Instagram, and I posted it up here. It says, "A negative mind will never give you a positive life," and it sounds trite. It's so true. And I find that my bad days are the days where I can't get my head out of being angry at the governor or upset about, some other, political issue, local or national. And so the first way we tended to self-care was trying to be, to find joy inside and to focus on gratitude. And so, like this morning, it's an absolutely beautiful day here. I was just going outside and going, my gosh, it's not too hot. It's beautiful. This is Southern California right here. And to start from that. In terms of a skincare routine and other self-care, I'm not the right guy. If I wish Jody was here, she could give you a whole routine.
Well, no, I think that was excellent. That was excellent. What you put in is what comes out. So that's a form of self-care. So thank you. And
thank you for that question too from the audience. And also whoever's watching, please, we encourage you to ask us questions. We'll put them up and we'll answer them. If it's for Todd or any of us, we can answer. Go ahead, Candance.
Sure, thanks. So there was a question earlier that says, "Oh, so you're back open, asking for a friend." So I think they'd like to know what services are available.
Most of our menu is available again. We have pared down the facials that we offer. We've shortened all those facial services. We're featuring 2 right now. We call our garden facial, one with extractions, one without extractions. We've also put a couple of the other facials back on the menu. But again, we are very fortunate in the space we have in Culver City to be able to offer outdoor services, which are legal. So if you go to our website, queenbeesalonspa.com, their booking form, there's a link in the upper right for booking. And it shows you, and the menu, you can click on the locations in Culver City. It will show you what our menu is. And really, again, we've got 2 completely private areas down a narrower section of garden that are completely private. So there is really no intimate service or otherwise that's not on the menu right now. I mean, so really everything's available.
Great. So they can just go to your website that's streaming at the bottom and book their services. If you're asking for a friend.
Yes.
Tell your friend.
Yes.
So Todd, can you tell us, how did the chamber or our local city help you with your business during this time?
I think the chamber has been terrific. I mean, early on when so much was not known, Colin was hosting some meetings. I remember some of them were just at the chamber. Some of them were weekly calls that I think have gone to either or even every 3rd week now, calls with several people in the economic development department in the city. But early on, there was just a lot of, what do we do? We are completely closed. We've furloughed all our staff. I mean, we were closed on March 16th when kind of the big lockdown happened, and we had to furlough all of our staff. And we made the decision to close. We had actually made the decision to close at about noon that day because we could kind of see the writing on the wall. And I think the governor closed us officially 3 or 4 hours later. I don't remember the exact timing, but we closed Seattle and California at the same time. And unfortunately, we had to then have a series of calls. We called our staff 2 people at a time and said, here's what's happening. We're going to close. We think we'll be back in 2 or 3 weeks, which at the time seemed daunting and terrible. How are we going to make it through 2 or 3 weeks? It was, remember, 15 days to flatten the curve 7 months ago.
A lot has happened.
A lot has happened. A lot has not been handled properly by certain governmental officials. But we told them what was happening. We furloughed them. We were able to, we paid for all of their health insurance costs in April, including all of what would have been their portion. Because unlike a lot of salons and spas, we provide health insurance, dental, vision, and medical, and we have a 401k. So we've really tried to take care of our staff. And
that's
but
awesome.
we also, with no money coming in and rent on three buildings, because we had Santa Monica, Culver City, and Seattle, and had not yet secured any kinds of debt or loans or grants, we told our staff, we don't know what is going to happen come May. We'll keep you posted. Hopefully we're open in April. We all expect to be. Well, as we got closer to May, we had to dump everyone off onto COBRA, which is the health insurance continuation program, and an enormous amount of paperwork and hassle on the back end between me and our insurance broker and all of our staff to get people moved over to COBRA. And then I'll come back to the answer to your question about but then in June, we got reopened on June 19th. And so we said, great, we're back. And we were indoors and very safe. And we were able to rehire most of our staff back, and we put them back on our health insurance July 1st, only to be closed again through no fault and no science and no data that our industry had anything to do with the summer spike. We were closed again by the dimmer switch in July, and had to figure out, well, what do we dump everyone back on COBRA? They're all furloughed again, immediately, out of work again. What do we do about their health insurance? Because we literally put them back on July 1st, and now we're closed on July 13th. It's been very disruptive. I, as you can tell, resent the term dimmer switch. It's not a dimmer switch if you're the one being dimmed.
Right.
But as far as the chamber goes, the big fear, and any small business knows it, cash is king. You've got to have cash or debt or access to cash. And we knew we had rent at all three locations. We still had payroll to make at, and we hadn't made all the sales yet that normally would cover payroll. And the chamber was very helpful in keeping us up on the very latest as they conjured up the CARES Act, and then specifically the Paycheck Protection Program and the Economic Injury Disaster Loans put through by the Small Business Administration. And so just educating us and keeping us informed, and then having the chance to talk with the city as the city was figuring out what was going on and how do we help and what do we do as we gradually reopened in June and moving restaurants out onto the streets and all that. I've been very well impressed with both the city staff and the two council members who've been on board on those calls, as well as with the chamber for sure. Yeah.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
It's been a great experience for myself as well, and working with the chamber. So Todd, you shared a lot with us, and you have continued to move forward. You're smiling. You've gone out for a walk today.
Well, this is content. That's what I didn't tell you. The secret.
Oh,
the
wait
secret
a minute. We should have been mixing it up then. Monday Biz Motivation. We should have been mixing it up. So tell us, what's your secret sauce? What keeps you motivated and moving forward in your business? Besides the vodka that I know is water.
It's vodka. Really, we all, again, I'm usually here at the home office, but for our staff that are at the shop, they love what they do. They love their coworkers. They love our clients. We were thrilled. There was real concern in June and July when unemployment was being padded by that $600 that was part of the CARES Act. And I think it was critically important. I never thought I would go on unemployment, but we were literally unemployed, and Jody and I pay ourselves as employees. We were entitled to it. And that, the 450 plus the 600, for the two of us really helped us not go deeply into debt. And, but there was concern when that $600 had no bearing, because the systems couldn't be built for it, on how many hours somebody works. And the $600 was built. It was a little bit of a political number, because 600 hours is $15 an hour at 40 hours. That's where that number came from. And it was added on top of whatever else you would get. So for a lot of our staff, that other number would have been 450. So we would have 1,050. But what if you only work, 20 hours a week? That's a high hourly number. That hourly number is in the 30s. I can't remember the exact math. So how do you take someone who's getting effectively $35 an hour to sit at home and has that running through at least the end of July and say, hey, it's June 19th, we're coming back. This mostly applied to our front desk staff who are hourly, and come back at your job in the low to mid 20s, which is what we pay in that role. And everyone came back. No one, it was not for our world. They were so anxious to get back to feeling needed, feeling valued, seeing their coworkers and clients. We did not have any issues with that. I know some of my restaurant friends in town who had a heck of a time restaffing with waiters and even kitchen staff because people's attitude was, look, I'm getting a lot more money to sit at home than you can pay me.
That's great.
But what drives us, what motivates us, a lot of it is that just the joy in seeing clients. Our staff literally, they all day long, they're making people's days. They're making people feel good in their skin and feel beautiful and feel human again. And that's very, very satisfying. They also obviously want to be working and to be able to make a living. And that's something Jody has always been very, very proud of, is the number of women that she has been able to employ, because of our clients and how well we've been received in the community. And I think we are very good at what we do. We've been able to grow and we pay our staff, very well. That means a lot to us.
I think that, coupled with the idea that, there's a purpose by going to work. If you're at home, that purpose is gone. I know so many of my friends are just wanting to go back. I know someone who just went back, like even part-time, just so, and she doesn't have to, she can work remotely, but she chooses to because it's good for her soul. It's good for her, her emotional and mental health, So I'm glad that you had employees like that were willing to go back. That's amazing. So now you've closed the Santa Monica operations. You still have Culver City. Do you still have Seattle?
We do. We downsized in Seattle. Seattle is kind of an outpost. It's within a larger spa facility called the Sola Salon Suites, and we had 3 studios that each have their own rent, and we were able to renegotiate with that landlord to drop one of the 3, and so we moved down to 2 studios. Thankfully, had one employee there who decided to move on for personal reasons and move back to Spokane, Washington. So we were able to not have to lay anyone off, as we slightly reduced. But we do. We have 2 studios in Seattle. We've been indoors there since early June, and their governor up there has taken a very different view of actually, every governor except Governor Newsom, every country, as far as I know, has taken a different view of Governor Newsom, in that the science and the data are that our industry is safe. It's interesting to think about, but we're regulated and licensed by the State Board of Barbering and Cosmetology. That license exists to protect consumers, primarily based on sanitation and safety and all that type of protocols, where clean products go versus used but sanitized, the way things are labeled, the way things are done. Now, I'm not licensed, you can probably tell, but the whole...
No, but you know all the details, though.
I do know some of it. But that all exists for safety and for the prevention of the spread of disease. I mean, I remember when Jody got licensed, that was what the written test was about. And the practical test, they do not care if you know how to do a balayage or how well you wax somebody's eyebrows. They do not care. They care about, did you follow the protocol? Did you double dip? Did you do this? Did you do that? And that's why the license exists. So just below doctors' offices and dentists' offices is the beauty industry. The weakest license in our industry is the manicure tech license, which is 200 hours. The weakest license in our shop is 600 hours. That's an esthetician. And then cosmetologists and barbers have 1,600 hours. Again, that's all training on the prevention of the spread of disease and sanitizing. And we are getting zero respect from the governor for that license. And that's what we already know how to do. I can tell you that the clerk at TJ Maxx doesn't know diddly squat about it, other than what they tell them. And yet we've been divided. Our industry's been divided. Hairstylists and barbers are treated one way. Manicures and pedicures are treated another. Skincare Watson is treated a third. Nobody's done that but Governor Newsom. And he's done it for political reasons, and I won't get into it.
Okay.
But where there is pushback and accusations of racism, he suddenly changes the rules. I don't know if you know this, but when he came up with the new system in August, the purple, the red, the various 4 tiers that are totally based on testing, he allowed barbers and hairstylists indoors because there was a lot of bad press. I don't know if you remember or even noticed, but on the evening news, there were constant stories on all the networks about, our industry being outdoors and how crazy it was. Breathing in the smoke, we're in the heat waves, we're back by the dumpster for a lot of cases. And so the hairstylists and barbers were allowed indoors, even in the most restrictive tier. We were then lumped in with the manicures and pedicures, and 80% of the licensed establishments in California in nails are owned by first-generation Vietnamese immigrants. That's just a statistical fact. So they pushed back and said, "Hey, you're discriminating against us," and so on. The governor doesn't like that. And lo and behold, for no known reason whatsoever, 2 or 3 weeks ago, manicures and pedicures were allowed indoors in the most widespread, restrictive tier. But that leaves I think it's 99% women who do skincare and waxing. Our section of the industry now fragmented from those who were able to push back, and we're still outdoors.
Wow.
So it's, again, we are so grateful for our garden, and I sound upset because
speaking of your garden, we do have a question.
Yes.
What is your favorite part of being in business in Culver City?
Culver City's always been like a small town and surrounded by a big city. And, we've enjoyed our Culver City location far more than we ever enjoyed our Santa Monica location, and far more than we enjoy our Seattle location. You get to know people. We're constantly running into people who are either on the school board or part of the Culver Ed Foundation, or they're with the various service groups, or they work at Sony, they all care so much about this community. And so it's a real pleasure. The city government is accessible. We are just down the road from City Hall. We know a lot of people in the police and fire departments. We know people in the planning department, and our clients. And so it's great because you do feel like you're in a smaller community. I don't know how in the city of LA you feel that connection with both the city itself and with the other people in the city. So it's a cute town. And we love our buildings. We love these cute, old bungalows that we're not in a strip mall. We're very happy to be here.
Well, it's a small town feel, and it's a small town. But you know what? We live in Southern California, where our weather is wonderful, and we're so blessed that we could have these businesses be able to go outside and not have to worry and weather the storms of, hurricanes or snow or any of those things, and I think that's a blessing.
Absolutely, it's a blessing. Yeah.
So speaking about things that are going on in Culver City, shall we talk about our events that are happening here?
Yes,
at the
let's
Chamber?
do it.
Okay.
So today we have this, and next week we will have another guest for Monday Biz Motivation. Yes. And so join us for that. And then we have Convo with the Mayor on Friday at 5 p.m. Do you want to take the rest?
Sure. The Convo with the Mayor has just been, there's so much information. And as Todd shared earlier, I grew up in LA, South Central LA, and moving to Culver City and having this opportunity to ask questions of the mayor every Friday at 5 p.m. Mayor Erickson is there answering questions, keeping us current on what's happening here in our city and things that we need to pay attention to. So that's a great opportunity, and it's open to everyone. You just have to register, go to the Chamber website, register, and you can join us every Friday.
And again, that's a small town thing where the mayor is accessible to you.
Right.
Yes.
And one of the things that's coming up that last year, Rafia and I at this point were so excited, and we were in tears, and we shared so much, is our 5th annual Women in Business Leadership Awards event that's happening on October 22nd. Definitely, you guys, it's going to be virtual this year, but we encourage everyone to go and register, reserve your space, because there are some amazing women that are doing great things here in Culver City, and we want to honor them, recognize them as the founders, the innovators, the visionaries, and there's 2 more categories that I can't remember. Oh, Trailblazer.
Nonprofit.
Yes.
A nonprofit. And then I don't know if you saw that on the ticker tape, but also Jody Shays was a winner previously.
Yes.
The first year they did it, she was one of the 4, I think, that year, 4 or 5.
It's so awesome that we have a city that recognizes women in business, and we have opportunities to celebrate them. So we encourage you, because I remember the 4th annual celebration I went to no, the third, I was really blown away and impressed how the women were honored and celebrated. And then the following year to be honored, it was just so amazing. So again, we encourage you to come out and celebrate and support the women that are doing great things here in the city of Culver City. We also will have coming up another opportunity for you to connect with other business owners, which is our breakfast. So we have gone from the large breakfast formats where you can actually slide over to your kitchen, grab coffee, don't burn your biscuits, sit down and have a good morning Culver City with the Culver City Chamber members, and that's going to happen on Wednesday, October 21st from 8:30 to 10 a.m. So again, register to attend. We also break off into groups where you can continue to connect. When we attend the breakfast, it's great. There's generally 10 people at your table, but now that we go virtual, you have an opportunity to connect with 4 to 3 folks, and then you're passed on to another setting. So again, it's just another great opportunity where the chamber is allowing us to connect, share our business, share ideas, utilize each other, and to really support the businesses that are in Culver City. Because when you do that, you're keeping your money in the city in which you work in, play in, and you're able to shop in. So again, it's just another opportunity. And the last thing I'll mention is the roundtable that is bi-weekly, unless there's a holiday taking place that it could go on. But it's our COVID-19 business roundtable, where there's a couple of folks from the city and also the chamber that are there providing updates. And as you mentioned earlier, Todd, it's fluid. It's something that we have as business owners really valued to know, because during this 7, 8 months, things have changed week to week, day to day, and we've had to stay flexible and still move through it and still be motivated and encouraged to do business and to thrive in the businesses that we're in, and also find ways to recover in the process. So those are all the events that we have happening over the next couple of weeks, and we encourage you to be a part of it. Get involved, just jump in. I think now is the easiest time to connect with people, because all you have to do is click and go live and you are in a meeting. So again, if you've been curious about the chamber and what we do, it's a great way to connect. And Rafi and I are both ambassadors, and that's a part of our role, is to connect people with people. So you can reach out to us, or any chamber member, any ambassador will get you and point you in the right direction. And our chamber staff is still there answering the phone and responding to questions. So again, the Culver City Chamber is here for you and your business, and here to answer any questions.
Exactly. There's so many great questions that, especially if you're a new business too, they can help you and make sure that you're on the right path and doing all the right things. It's a wonderful resource.
Yep. So Todd, you're probably not going to believe this, but we have passed our half hour, and we're pretty much wrapping things up here. And so with that being said, is there anything, Todd, that you would share to encourage folks that are in businesses that have been impacted? I mean, your story, yours and Jody's story, how you treat your associates, how you've shifted and pivoted during this time is so encouraging, because you had multiple locations, you had several associates, you had your own household, but yet you're still moving forward in the midst of it, finding ways to service your clients in a way that, it's still bringing them to tears. They're still happy and looking forward to the special touches that Queen Bee Salon and Spa gives the women who utilize your services. And I don't want to exclude the men, but I don't know a minute ago.
There's a lot of men.
Yeah, the women and men that utilize your services, because they have skin too. So with that, I just want to ask you, what would you say to encourage anyone who's been impacted during this time to move forward and to stay motivated in their business?
I think for us, it's been a lot of it. As I said earlier to the question on self-care, so much of it has been staying mentally positive. And we've really thought about what is our product? What is it that we're doing both for our staff, for ourselves, and for our clients? And we are delivering I think this is actually someone's tagline, so it's going to sound cheesy, but we're really providing happiness, a sense of normalcy, a sense of joy, and for our staff, a sense of purpose and an income. And so we really stay focused on that. The things that are going to happen, they're going to buffet us. But if we stay focused on that and say, how can we keep the ship going through this storm and focus on delivering happiness, be warm-hearted to people in this incredibly tumultuous election time? How can we be intellectually hospitable to people we don't agree with and say, look, all ideas are welcome and no one's going to get judged, and just bring that sense of humanity? That's kept us very motivated.
Yeah, thanks.
It's wonderful. That's a great way to look at it. And I'm so happy that you liked my post that I made that day about
right
the
up
negative.
On the wall above me here, yeah.
And it's so true. A negative mind will never give you a positive life. No. So with that, Candance, what's your Monday motivation?
My Monday motivation is just that. It's Monday. and I'm going to be motivated to walk into a brand new week with opportunities to style my clients, to make a positive impact on anyone.
Don't forget about me.
Oh yeah, to stay motivated and put a smile. I think it was Amazon who says we're delivering smiles. But
I'm wearing all that and more.
Oh yeah. So to put a smile on your face, look how big that smile is, and look at Rafia. She's rocking one of our tie-dye dresses that converts off the shoulder or not. Yes. And that smile can't be brighter. So I always tell my clients, you are looking all that and more. So I'm just looking forward to creating moments like that throughout the week.
It's very comfortable too, you guys. So if you're into shopping a little bit, and please support the local businesses that we have here. Go see Candance. She will style you, and this is a wonderful piece for me. I love it. For me, my motivation for this week is I traveled a little bit last week and went up to like Solvang, Santa Ynez area. And I saw a lot of fall and leaves and colors and everything. So I'm sort of trying to get into the fall mood. And getting into that means getting those stones out that have those wonderful colors. Yes. So the orange carnelians and the citrines and all of those wonderful colors that we see in the fall leaves out there, and then of course, in the pumpkins and the gourds and all of those things that are out there right now, amazing colors. So you'll be seeing some more of that from me this week. A few more posts about those colors and those stones.
That's beautiful.
My motivation.
Yeah, it's beautiful to be able to create amazing things that, again, put smiles on our faces. Sometimes it's just those little things. It could be looking at a stone or seeing the vibrant and brilliancy of jewelry makes you happy. People react to that.
Well, and jewelry with all the different gemstones, they are literally a lot of the colors in nature out there. So it's a good way to get motivated.
So Todd, you were an awesome guest. We thank you, and please tell your wife Jody that we thank her. She is the Queen Bee, and you are the worker bee behind Queen Bee Salon. And so we encourage our listeners to go check them out, go experience a facial in the garden, go get your waxing. Everything is online, and just have an awakening experience at Queen Bee Spa and Salon. They're here in Culver City. It's a great small town feel. And I know going through there, I have just been, I experienced something amazing just walking through your location. It takes me to places that I've never visited, but I felt it here in Culver City. So it's a transportation experience when you go into Queen Bee. You definitely leave floating, and you feel like the queen that they create you to be. So thank you. Please tell Jody we appreciate you guys, and you are definitely essential to anyone that has skin. You're essential.
Yes, go visit them. They're wonderful, and their salon is so cute. They also sell a lot of little things in there, don't you have like products that you sell as well?
We do. We have our own products, and then we sell certain skincare lines, and then we have some jewelry that one of our staff members makes, and then I think we have face masks. One of our staff members makes face masks, and she just sells them at the front desk, and people Venmo her. And so, yeah, there's all kinds of cute stuff there.
What
Thank
was
you.
the Worker Bee product? There was a product that's called Worker Bee. What is
Well,
that?
we have been working on our skincare line of products.
Okay.
It wasn't totally in place yet going into the pandemic, but we have the flagship product is one called Buzz Off Pumps, which I don't know if you can see it
Buzz
there.
Off. Yes.
And these are kind of 5-in-1s. But I'm the wrong guy to talk about how great they are. But the Worker Bee body oil is we use it. Oops, which way do I go here?
There you go.
Yeah, we use it on facials and also after waxing treatments. But it's been very popular with clients because it's all when you buy an oil like this and you know what the ingredients are. This says 1, 2, 3. It's 4 ingredients: sunflower oil, peppermint, wild mint, and eucalyptus. And so it's really wonderful stuff. And these are on our website and also at the shop. So thank you.
Great. We'll have to look for that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for watching today, and hope this motivates you. And we'll see you next week with a new guest.
Thanks for having me on.
Yes.
Bye,
So
Todd.
next week we'll have Tashanta Hogan of Sensational Soaps that will be joining us. So join us live next week at 1 p.m.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks.